Hey, you inner tubes. Well, here's my next lawnmower find. Found this last night. I haven't looked at it at all yet. We're going to give it a look over here this morning together. It looks like it's been sitting outside for a while. Paint's kind of faded, but it's a Craftsman. It has the Briggs & Stratton Quantum engine that I like, and hopefully it's fixable. So let's go take a look together. One of the first things I like to do when I get a lawnmower I don't know anything about, I always check the crankshaft to see if it's straight. Hopefully it is. Here we are under the mower. I have disconnected the spark plug, and off camera I checked the crankshaft just by spinning the blade. You can see there it has compression, this engine, but listen closely. You hear that metallic sound? Something's hitting underneath the recoil. And when I disconnected the spark plug, I noticed there's some kind of wire right there. I don't know what that's all about. This may have been jerry-rigged. But at least our initial impression of the engine, crankshaft is straight. You see it kick back. This engine has compression. Now we'll see if this has any oil in it. I had it tipped backwards, so I'll take it out and wipe it. I think, hopefully you can see there, it does have oil. And it's in the acceptable zone. So that's a good sign. And I'll just show you, it does have fuel in it. It might smell a little bit old to me. Maybe this just has a carburetor issue. Now I'm going to check the air filter. And as I say that, I look in here and I can see there is not an air filter. So that's not a good sign. Look at there, no air filter. And that piece of wire I can see right here has been jerry-rigged to prevent it from choking. Why in the world would they do that? I don't know. I think the next step, I'm going to take this red cover off and see what else has been monkeyed with. And the cover is off. As you can see there, it's not in great shape. I'm pretty sure I have a spare that's in better shape, so we'll probably swap that out. I don't even know where he has this connected to. Jeez. Well, I think I'm going to take the gas tank and the recoil off and see what the purpose of this wire is. I don't know why they have it permanently unchoked like this. Three bolts on top, 5/16. And one underneath is 3/8. We'll take these all out. Now we'll remove the recoil. Definitely looks a bit rusty. Definitely has been sitting outside. When I get a mower like this, I like to remove the recoil just to make sure there's no mouse nests under here, because I've seen it. At least I've seen parts of a mouse. previous owner started the mower and there was a mouse nest, and they either cooked them or they shredded it. I saw legs and a tail. But even if there's just a nest, you don't want that nest in there getting hot. It might catch fire. So we'll get these out. And there's also a 5/16 bolt holding on the dipstick. Well, we have the recoil off. This wire appears to be a coat hanger that they wrapped around the engine. And you can probably see the dipstick moving. They wrapped it around the dipstick. I don't know why, but it's coming off. Why in the world would anybody do this? Trying to get it out without breaking anything. Mystery wire is out. So the auto choke is working exactly the way it should. I don't know if the thermostatic choke doesn't move forward when it gets hot. We will see. I think since I have it torn down so much, might as well try to pop off the flywheel and check the flywheel key. I might replace the coil too. It doesn't look very good right there. Let's get the air gun. Alright, the nut on the flywheel is pretty rusty looking. I put some WD-40 on it. Let's see if my impact gun can get it off or not. I'm in reverse. Nothing yet. There it goes. I think. Need more air. Well, we got the nut off. I gotta wipe off that WD-40 before I can check the flywheel key. Well, I think you can see there, the flywheel key appears to be just fine. It's not sheared. So we'll put all that back together. Do you remember this had a mysterious clinking sound when we would turn the blade? Watch this. I have the bail tied down. I think I discovered it. It's the little piece of metal here to help it cool. Every time the magnet passes by, it hits the flywheel. They did not have the recoil put back on correctly. So that's a good, easy fix. I have my blade removal tool on the blade to allow me to tighten this down. That ought to work. And I did take my air compressor and try to blow out a lot of the grass and dirt that was especially around the fins. Looks like I missed a spider web there. Before we put everything back together, I think I'm going to replace this coil. It might still work, but I can see a little bit of wear on the outer coating, the sheath, of the wire that runs to the spark plug. So I have plenty of spares from junk engines. I'm just going to swap it out. I'll show you how to do that. To remove the coil, first let's remove the air vane for the auto choke because it's in the way. Move that off to the side there. And then that bolt and the 2 bolts that hold on the coil are 1/4 inch. So we'll hang on to these screws. Underneath here is the wire that runs to the kill switch. We'll disconnect that and pull the wire out. And this right here is what I was noticing. It's just a little worn. It might still work, but I have extras. This one looks the same to me. So we'll put this one on and I'll throw this one away. So first let's run the wire for the spark plug back down through there. We'll connect the on-off wire for the kill switch. Okay, that's back on. And now we need to gap this. What I use, like many people do, standard issue business card. So I will put the screws back in loosely. We have our standard issue business card. I also removed the blade brake tool which I had on there, and we will take the business card, stick it down in between the flywheel and the coil, and with the bail tied down I will turn this until the magnet comes into contact with the coil. And there, magnet is pulling the coil with the width of the business card in between. We will tighten this down. Don't overdo it, you're screwing into aluminum. And then just rotate that around, remove the card, and we should be perfectly gapped. I can hear the suction, I can hear the compression. This thing hopefully is okay. Has me kind of worried it didn't have an air filter, but we will find out. And since we've come this far, we might as well take this carburetor off and take a look at it. 3 bolts, 5/16. We'll take those off and then we'll get our initial impression of this carburetor. Air filter cover is off. I think that fuel line is going to be okay. Fuel line is off. Now let's get that carburetor off. 2 bolts back here, 3/8. And as I'm taking this apart, it just really smells bad. It almost smells like gasoline mixed with chlorine from a swimming pool. So we're definitely going to empty that tank and we'll see what kind of state this carburetor is in. There we go. Carburetor is off. Let's pop it open. Here's the gas that I took out of the tank. It's very cloudy. I suspect it's rather old. So we will dispose of this, clean out the tank, and check out the carburetor. So here is the carburetor. I sprayed off the outside, try to get all the dirt and grime off. Now, let's pop out the jet. It's a 1/2-inch socket. And that was not very tight at all. The jet actually looks good. You can see through the hole there. See that? Okay, well, we definitely have some water in that gas. I see some water bubbles down in the bottom. But surprisingly, it looks pretty good. I will give this a clean off camera and reassemble. Here we have the reassembled carburetor. I cleaned out the inside, cleaned out the jet, put it all back together. And when I hold it right side up like this and blow in this hole, I am able to. When I flip it upside down, I am not able to. So that tells me the float, the needle and seat are all working as they should. So let's put this back on the lawnmower. Put the linkage back on, and 2 3/8 bolts. Carburetor is back on. Let's get the air vane reconnected. That tab goes into that slot right there on the carburetor. And this bolt is a 1/4 inch. And that all looks like it's working the way it should. Thought I'd show you here. I was checking the recoil. When I pull the rope out, the teeth come out like they're supposed to, so this should be just fine. And the recoil is back on. 2 bolts in the front, 2 bolts in the back, 3/8, one for the dipstick, 5/16. And I made sure to line up this flange here with the metal tooth on the outside of the recoil, and the flange teeth on the outer edges, they go on the inside. So we shouldn't have any of that rattling around anymore. Let's reconnect the gas tank. I did put a little fresh gas in the tank. I sloshed it around and then dumped it. So we'll get the gas tank back on, and we'll be pretty close to trying to give this its first start. We got the gas tank back on. We got the air filter housing back on. One thing we have not checked yet is the spark plug. It looks okay for testing, I think. Looks like a champion, I think. I apologize for the background music that you can probably hear. There's some kind of either Hispanic or Native American singing going on at the park near me. So, again, I apologize for the distraction here. Now that we're finally finished with looking over the engine, let's take a look at these front drive wheels. A lot of times when I find these on the curb, the teeth on the inside are all chewed up. This wheel actually looks pretty good. Still very much usable. Let's check the other side. And that wheel looks even better than the other one. So we'll put them right back on. I might throw a little lithium grease on both the axles so they turn easier. Alright, we're all back together. I put a little gas in the gas tank and it is not leaking anywhere around the carburetor or around the air filter box. I put a used air filter in it and I put the cover back on. So let's see if this starts. Let's try to drown out that bad singing. So I let this run for maybe 5 minutes or so, and you can see there the auto choke is working correctly. The thermostatic choke is now pushing the choke open. Let's see if it starts. Yeah, that's all correct. I don't know why that numbskull put that piece of wire on there. It was not necessary. Everything in here is working correctly. It does feel like the blade is out of balance. It kind of vibrates a bit, but it runs. And get a load of this. So when I would pull on the self-propelled cable, there was a little bit of resistance, and just as I suspected, the underside here is full of grass and debris. The belt looks okay, so let's get this all cleaned up. That's much better. Let's get that cover back on. Ta-da! Cover's back on. Let's put on one more cover. And we put a replacement cover back on. This black piece here was missing. There's the old cover, both broken and ugly. So, kind of looks like a lawnmower now. One final thing I'm going to do today, I will sharpen and balance this blade. Fortunately, the blade adapter under here looks very good. Be right back. So the blade is back on. It's balanced. Let's give it a start. It feels much better. There we go, folks. Another rescued lawnmower. And surprisingly, I don't need to buy front wheels for this thing. They're still okay. And I'm surprised, I don't know how long he's not had an air filter in here, but I don't see it smoking. So I think this engine's okay. I don't know if I have a bag for it. I don't think I do. I will look another day. But now that I know it's okay, someday I will give it a tune-up, give it a wash, and test it. If anyone's curious, I am. So the cover on this probably won't come out. It says it's a 2008. So all things considered, I'd say it's in pretty good shape. I didn't intend to do all this today. I was just going to do a preview, but when I saw that coat hanger wire in there, well, my curiosity got the better of me, and we ended up just fixing it today. So, thanks for watching.